Brett leaving kind of, and I don't think they said, "Oh, Brett's leaving, so these are his boys, and we're going to stick it to him." I don't think it was anything like that. But when Brett was there to look out for us,
Sure.
kind of keep us in, when they're talking about all these people, and he says, "Hey, what about the guys over here?" You know what I'm saying? It always helps. Can't hurt. But about the same, thing that happened with Sean and Brett. And we were there, and we were smack dab. We were smack dab in the middle of that, and didn't want to be. We were there in Montreal, and Robert Kurgan was from what do they call it over there on the coast, Newfoundland, and that kind of that area, Moncton. I think that's where he's from. He was over from that area. But Luke, the sniper, he was from Montreal, so he had already left. So it was me and Kurgan there. We were there in Montreal, and all this went down. And me and Kurgan were sitting. All the things that documentary was showing, like my son, being Brooks Jensen, he calls me the Forrest Gump of wrestling, because all those scenes, we were like standing around the corner, like peeping around, trying to stay off camera, because this was Brett's deal, But we were watching this, like reliving the whole thing, because that's exactly how it happened. Me and Kurgan were sitting backstage. Davey Boy, Owen, I think Brian was still there, maybe. Yeah, I think Brian. Anyway, Brett's guys were waiting to go out. What we understood, they were going to do a run-in. And when we saw it happening, it took a minute for it to set in. Because you're sitting there, this kind of stuff don't happen. So it took a minute for it to register. And I remember Kurgan looking at me and said, "Oh, we got to get out of here." And I said, "Yep." So we take off back to the dressing room, and we no more got there. We got our bags, and we were getting our bags together and getting ready to go. And Sean and Hunter walked in, and Sean was livid. And, for years I thought it was because we didn't have any idea, even though we were kind of Brett's guys, we had no idea what was going on, with that whole deal. But we knew that Brett and Sean has, some heat, but, we didn't get involved in that. Sean was always great to me. Every time he saw me, he was always cool. And, but, Sean was livid, and we were getting ready to go, and we opened the door, and Jerry Briscoe come walking in, and he said, "You guys stay in here. If Brett comes in, keep them apart. Don't let it break out into a brawl." And so now, me and Kurgan are like, "Oh, great. How'd we get into this?" And I think the Ron and Don Harris boys, the twins, they came in and sat down. And then one or two more people kind of trickled in. And then Brett come in, and, he sat down and started taking his boots off, and it's just like what you saw. Taker finally came. Rocky had come in there, Dwayne. A bunch of the guys had come into the dressing room, and everybody just kind of standing around, and Brett asked Sean if he, everything happened on the documentary. They had that little exchange there. And Taker come in and sat down, and I think Jerry Briscoe came back in, and Taker asked, "Where's Vince at?" And Jerry said he's down in his office. And Taker said, "We need to talk to him." And, we're sitting there, and then Vince, Bruce Pritchard, Jerry Briscoe, a lot of the I think JR wasn't there, but a lot of I think maybe Pat was there. They come in, and Taker said, "All right, guys, let's give them some breathing room." And we jetted. I remember we left so quickly. I stepped on the back of Brian Christopher's shoe trying to get out of there, and he's like limping down the hall trying to get his shoe back on. We hauled ass out, because that was above my pay grade. I didn't want to really, be in that. So, and we got out to the car, and by the time we got out the car and got our bags in and everything, and, we're pulling around, we saw, here come Vince, and yeah. So we were there for that whole thing.